students create. There's a lot around campus. Students living at 2 per room in Newside. Teachers that have almost no office hours because they're 3 in an office with a desk for 3 teachers in the trailer beside the library. Office hours when teachers don't have that affects learning of students. Apart that, so we need to make sure that bishops put the resource to support its growth. There's also need of new service. For example, I'm on the dining committee where there's been question about trying to get some food services at the library. So when you're studying, you're hungry, you don't have to go anywhere. We also need to look into being supportive for a maximum number of students, counseling, psychologists, whatever, tutoring, to increase the resource up to the growth of student needs.
We've discussed a little bit about services, and I want to get into a bit more details. This question will be started by Adam Peabody, moving on to Guillaume, then Kim, and then Joseph. Are there any areas within the student services or SRCs that you see as wasteful, inefficient, or requiring some significant improvements? Some good examples would be nice. How do you determine what these services are? And how might we be able to make changes to these services? So Adam, Guillaume, Kim, and then Joseph.
So the question is, what services should we eliminate? Sorry?
Or are inefficient.
Or that are inefficient. Well, you know, one thing that came up sort of between my period coming in as Vice President of Student Affairs and Taylor Johnston's time leaving was that there was some inefficiencies with the leadership office, and that there was some concerns about how that office was going forward. What we advocated for was an audit of that office and a review of what exactly a leadership office should provide for the university and what exactly the students and the rest of the stakeholders in the university would want from a leadership office. That would be one example that I can speak to directly, but again, before we start going and looking at services that we should start cutting, we should ask our students what services they need and what services they don't.
Given in an efficient way, and is the service accessible for people who need it? If we look at the university level, for example, tutoring, let's say. Often you go, want a tutor for a class, they're unable to find people. That's a service at the university level. I think that needs improvement. Other services, if I look, for example, in club of the SRC, the photography club has been transforming itself in the last year to go from film photography to digital photography in order to adapt itself to the needs of new students and go with its time. That's what we need to do. I think that every service offered by the SRC should be reviewed by the head office of the SRC every year in order to see what can be improved, what can be, and make things efficient.
Thank you, Guillaume. Next up, Kim.
Hey guys, so I gotta say once again, when it comes to student services, with the increase of student population, we have to look at every single service has a lot of pressure on it to deal with this extra amount of students. Like Adam said, the leadership offices this year, we did review them, but we did combine them with career and employment because we felt that would be an appropriate way to combine those resources and kind of help the two of them with less of a budget kind of provide. So we do feel that, once again, coming into the new year, it depends on what those first year and what those remaining students feel are necessary as services, which ones they don't use as much, and if they can be cut down to provide for more, such as health services or current employment, I mean, that's all stuff that can be looked into the new year through services, research, just to, find out what the student body wants most.
We have some questions for...
There's some things you know and there's some things you don't. When looking at cutting services, I'm going to look at my platform. And my platform, I have the Wine and Cheese events that will be held throughout the year, which is gathering and giving information to students so that you can hear directly from students what they want, what they don't need, and that's how you better serve them, is by getting down there and speaking to each and every single one of them, by tracking them out with something that's popular. Another part of my platform, which is key to this, is the Ombudsman's Office, which deals with impartiality issues when it comes to the SRC, and that would be embedded within the Constitution as an autonomous office. In that manner, students would be able to advocate their concerns without going directly to the SRC, allowing for better results going forward. That's how you better judge, by getting down to understand students and to remove yourself from the process, allowing for what needs to be done to get done.
Great, thank you. All right, next up, we have some questions for academics and Americans, of course. We are going to do this order with, we're going to do it reverse. So Dan, followed by, sorry, and we don't have any answers from Jared Plato, so do you have any input here? First of all, bishops, like most universities, encourages a good culmination of the many parts of student life, including social and academic side. And as students enter Frosh Week, the social side can leave many students unsure of the academic side of the university. In your mandate, how would you encourage and foster academic interests right from the get-go as new students enter into bishops and old students enter for a returning year? So for this time, we'll do Dan.
So it's how do you foster interest in academics for new students and for returning students? So as we know, students at bishops get a lot of fulfillment from the social life. I think that's what everybody really appreciates that. We have also come to notice that we might not get the same kind of fulfillment from our academic side of our student life, and I guess that could change with Frosh Week. What happened this year was there was a low attendance to the academic orientation. That would be the first change, sort of a mandatory attendance for Froshies, but as well as Frosh leaders, and Frosh leaders being sort of getting Froshies. I remember in my first year, my Frosh leaders knocked at my res door, dragged me out of bed and brought me to academic orientation. That tradition needs to come back, so that at least they have a better idea of what's the academic side of bishops rather than just the social side. As for returning students, in Frosh Week, I don't really know what we can do because it's more oriented to new students. But I guess make it open for returning students, even though they know what's up already. I don't know.
No worries. Great.
To make sure that every single person who's involved in Frosh understands how valuable and important that is. So I talked about teamwork whenever I spoke earlier, and that's exactly what I mean. You need to have judges and coordinators on board with the importance of academia. I was speaking to Michael Childs, and he said that the faculty actually wishes to eliminate Frosh Week because they don't think that's a positive view for students, that students who are more academically focused are really discouraged, and those who end up getting stuck in the social side really end up getting lost in it. So it needs to be a part of our culture, and it needs to be a part of our culture from the beginning. From then on, as students develop, and each year that they come back, it will be embedded in them that academics are really the most important. So, or are really important during Frosh Week.
Great. Thank you. Let's talk about
If we look at Frosh Week on the student, there's academic orientation, but I think there should be an aspect that goes beyond that. Either more division-based or even program-based for people that are in a 3-year program, in order to know really the particularities of the program that course offered every second year. Important points. Also, I think that, hey, people are waiting in line for hours to get their schedule refreshes. So why not go there during this time? Everybody needs to be there. Go along the line, talk to them. Or put a table just before they get in the gym for their schedule. That would be an important point. Is there a question there?
Yeah. I'm just wondering, how aware are you of the events happening this Frosh Week in terms of departmental academic orientation? I'm just wondering how aware you are of this past Frosh Week in terms of...
This past Frosh Week, I admit I may be less aware. That's the thing. When you're not Froshies, or when I've not been involved in organization, there's a bit difference. But if some of these steps have been taken, good. We're gonna, if I'm elected, we're gonna look into pushing it even more forward. But we need to go one step at a time. So if this step has been taken, we're gonna go to the next step.
Thank you, Guillaume. Next up is
Thank you.
Let me just start by recognizing the efforts that Justin McCarthy, our current VP Academic, has taken over the last year to improve this. One big thing that I think has helped is the actual departmental tours that were provided during Frosh Week. This gave students an ability to meet some of their professors, possibly meet their chairperson, and find out exactly what buildings they're going to be needing. They're going to be spending time in over their time here, and it also gave them an opportunity to talk with older students in their faculty to talk about what it's like. So I think something like that to continue those efforts that have been made this year, and then also to include events that actually make academics fun. One interesting event that's gotten a big turnout over the last year that I know Justin has helped support as well is the debates that have been run by Dr. Jessica Leclair. So I'd like to see more effort on those areas, and I think that that way we can include academics in a stronger setting during Frosh Week and beyond. Thank you.